It's been a while since I last sat here and recorded, but that doesn't mean I'm still not reading the comments and interactions that I get on a lot of my videos. And one thing has always struck me as very odd about the WoW community. You see, I am a WoW guide creator. I create a lot of content for new players who are wanting to get into the game for the first time or learn elements of the game that maybe have been historically confusing for them. What's so fascinating about that role, though, is I get to see a side of the WoW community that is so kind of abnormal. I don't see it anywhere else really in gaming, but WoW has a large number of players who have quit the game, and yet they will still continue to come back to any and all WoW content that is posted and just talk about how horrible the game is now compared to when they played back in 2005. And I've never fully understood why that is. What is it that causes a player to want to come over here and be like, hey, don't play WoW. I loved in 2005, but it's trash now. It doesn't make sense. My gut tells me the real reason is that these players know that they've left something they really enjoy, and they have to keep justifying over and over and over again to themselves about why they're no longer playing World of Warcraft. Because at the end of the day, we have to answer the question, is WoW dying? Is WoW bad? Is the game worse than it used to be 20 years ago, right? Surely over the last 20 years, the game has had some improvements, right? Like, it can't all be worse. In fact, I think the game is better than it's ever been before. Now, I just made a big statement, and I totally get it if you're watching the video and you're like, no swag. There is no way World of Warcraft is better now than it was during Wrath of the Lich King when we had 12 million players playing. Yeah, you know, that's a big number. I think right now, WoW is actually in this golden era. Maybe it's not the golden era anymore. Maybe we're in the silver era of WoW or the bronze era. I don't know what we would want to call it, but it is something beautiful that is going on right now that we really should be excited about, and we should be celebrating where World of Warcraft is at. If you are thinking about coming back to WoW, or you're wanting to know if WoW is any good to play, let me tell you right now, it is a ton of fun. The game is being updated more than ever before. The patches are coming out faster than we've ever seen. And if retail WoW isn't your flavor, if you're saying, no, there's too many updates, there's too much stuff happening, I don't know if I can keep up with it all, you still have classic WoW, which includes original classic vanilla World of Warcraft. It includes right now Cataclysm Classic, so you can play through the Cataclysm expansion if you so wish to. You have Hardcore Classic, which is just a take on traditional Classic, but if you die, you'll lose it all. And Season of Discovery, which is a classic game mode that kind of adds some new elements. It creates some uniqueness to the game, so it's still classic, but fresh and fun. That is 4 classic game modes that are live and on retail. So retail is what we call the current World of Warcraft. Right now it's Dragonflight. It's going to be the War Within soon, but that is where the game is at right now in its updates, in its life cycle. It is called Retail World of Warcraft. That's what you buy off the shelf at the store, if they still sold it on shelves at the store. But if you are playing retail World of Warcraft, it's not just retail WoW, but you also have Mists of Pandaria, which is a side game mode that they've added. They have been introducing a bunch of temporary game modes recently, which is kind of cool that they're giving us some fresh stuff to do. And you can also play the beta for the War Within. So that's kind of like 3 game modes going on right now in retail WoW, which makes for 7, I think I'm correct on that, 7 different game modes of WoW that you can play right now when you log in. But what do game modes even matter if the game is getting stale and boring? And World of Warcraft is anything but stale and boring right now. The patches are coming out faster than we've ever seen before. There is more going on in each and every patch. We're seeing bugs fixed constantly. We are seeing classes and specs adjusted frequently to fix problems that are arising. And not only are the patches coming out faster, but we just got word that the next expansion is going to come out quicker than we've ever seen an expansion come out before. So we've got all these expansions. We've got frequent updates coming out, but is it actually fun, right? Like, obviously they're putting care and they're putting love into the product, but is the product fun? Because what does a game matter if it's not fun anymore? And that's where the big shift in World of Warcraft has occurred over the last 20 years. A lot of the comments I get are talking about how WoW was full of wonder and awe the first time they played it, and it just can't capture that again. And I agree. I remember when I first logged into World of Warcraft back in Burning Crusade, and I was just in awe. I was amazed by the world that was around me, and that doesn't really get captured anymore. But I don't know if that's because that just doesn't exist, or because I've already experienced it and it's hard to experience again. However, what does exist now in the game for sure is a more refined content experience. Here's what I mean by that. The gameplay itself of World of Warcraft is beyond what we've ever seen in the game. Raids are tuned exceptionally well. Yeah, we complain about some stuff, but the fights are interesting and they're fun, and the designs are unique and creative. Mythic dungeons are still kind of pretty new in the last 5 years to World of Warcraft, and Blizzard, I think, is in their best stride with them yet. In this current expansion, they've experimented with rotating in old dungeons into the Mythic dungeon pool, creating more variety. Mythic plus dungeons are kind of these time trial dungeons that infinitely scale in difficulty. They've turned dungeons into something that, because dungeons used to be something you did just to get ready for raid, and now dungeons are truly their own type of content that is in many ways just as challenging as Mythic raiding when pushed at the highest levels. I like the more competitive gameplay in WoW, with dungeons, with raiding. However, I do also have to admit, Blizzard has been putting more and more work into solo player content as well, and experiential world content that we don't give enough credit to. In the upcoming expansion, The War Within, they're even adding what's called delves, which are these PvE experiences where you can go from 1 to 5 players, whatever you feel comfortable with, but you get to go into them, and it's more puzzle driven and experiential driven rather than just go in and kill the bad guys and do it as fast as you possibly can. Crafting was overhauled recently into something that feels more valuable and feels like a better interaction experience than what we were getting before, with the crafting system that had truly not been updated in like 19 years. And so to see that now get overhauled was really, really cool. So yes, WoW is not the game that it once was 20 years ago, but you could not expect it to be the same game it was 20 years ago. And I would argue, as somebody who's been playing for the majority of those 20 years, it is a better game now than it was then. I'm not trying to say that your experiences back then aren't valid, because I'm sure they are. And maybe the gameplay that is in WoW now isn't necessarily your preference, isn't your style. WoW gives you the options to play how you want to play. You can't expect other players to live by that, but you yourself can play the ways that you want to. It's an incredibly enjoyable experience, and I think it's better than we've ever seen. So Blizzard, kudos to you. You've done a great job. Please don't make me come back next year after The War Within and make a counter video to why WoW sucks all of a sudden, because I really do love what's going on with the game. And if you enjoy this content, please make sure to subscribe. You can also join me on my Discord server, where we help new players get into World of Warcraft. I believe we'll be doing some new player raids soon for people wanting to learn how to raid, but we're also always helping out with Mythic Plus Dungeons and other content. I would love to get to know you on the Discord server. My name is Swag, and thank you for letting me be your guide to the World of Warcraft.